Action. Desiree, glad to see you're here. Have you had a chance to acclimate to Mr. Smith?
Well, from hearing your description, acclimate meant look at the prior year return, so I did look at his prior year return.
Awesome. Were you able to flip through his current year documents?
I did do that.
Were you able to determine if there were documents there last year that he'd sent in this year's version, or were there things missing, or is everything, do you think you have everything?
It looked to me like we had everything that was here last year.
That's great. In the future, you might want to also look to see if in the client folder on the U drive, if there's a planning folder, because there may be some information in there as well. And look at prior year work papers, just to see how they were put together and if there's something relevant to what you're looking at.
Okay.
So, as you know, we talked about you developing a plan, and you'd never done one before, and I said, well, when you come in here, we'll do it for the first time together.
Okay.
So, here's a plan, framework, and there's 5 steps in a plan, and each step we want you to assign a time allotment to. And on this first one, you and I will work together on it, but in the future, you want to try to think about how long you think some of these things will take, because that's going to be the estimate, to give you a guide to what you're going to need when you do one of these projects, how much time you should be spending, and you're going to help create it every time. All right, so the first step is organize documents. You've already kind of done that, because when you flipped them, you kind of put them in the order that you saw that you were told to put them in. So how long did that take you?
I did that in about a half an hour.
All right, great. So we'll put a half an hour down here. Your next step is you have to create the work papers for the current year, and that's the Excel file that you had a little training on, of taking the documents and keying the data in there and some other things. And you've looked at these documents, and you kind of know what the Excel file looks like because you had some training on it. How long do you think it's going to take you to organize, to create those?
I don't know. What if it takes me like 6 hours?
It could take 6 hours. What you're going to find is the first few that you do take a lot longer until you get comfortable using the tools that we have. So it may take 6 hours. You can put that.
Do you think it should take me that long?
No, I actually think that
Because
you're
I'm
pretty
sure
talented.
The budget said like 4, but I'm scared I won't meet that.
All right, well, since it's your first time that you're really doing this, we're going to put down 4 hours.
Okay.
And it's going to be 4 hours is, and as you're going through this, just understand that that's an area where you're going to look to see lots of improvement, because as you get comfortable doing this, you're going to see that you're going to get better at it. Then once you have your work papers done, you're going to input it into UltraTax, which, if you haven't had any familiarity with UltraTax, come see me and I will sit down with you and we'll walk through the input on your initial return, but you'll pick that up pretty quickly. And so how long do you think it will take you to input the numbers? You might not, actually I'll just tell you, I think it should take about an hour.
Okay.
When you're done with that, you're going to review all your work papers to make sure all the numbers were captured properly, and the inputs into UltraTax that you keyed them in the proper.
Is that where I put a green check on like every number in the tax return?
Not every number in the tax return. Every number in the tax return that you understand should have a green check.
Okay.
Meaning, if you have a dividend and it's $10 and you see it in the tax return as $10, you can check that.
Okay.
But if you don't know what the number means, you can make a list of the things that you're confused on, and we'll discuss it later, but don't check numbers in the tax return that you don't understand.
Okay.
So then your self-review on this return is probably about a half an hour, because you're pretty familiar with all the numbers and there's not a lot of inputs. Then you're going to give it to me and I'm going to review it, and I may give it back to you with comments, and that'll be about a half an hour. So your total budget in this is going to be like 6.5 hours. I know you saw in the system that it's 4 hours. 4 hours is a more experienced person may be able to get it done in 4 hours, but you're a beginner and you're going to move towards 4 hours very quickly. So we want you to walk through this. we want you to do it in relation to our problem-solving system, which we've just accomplished. You've already acclimated, that is step one. We have a plan now. The plan's been adjusted to reflect your ability to perform the work. You're gonna create the work papers and input it into Ultratext, which is part of the gather, analyze, and present feature of our plan. Then you're gonna do your review, then I'm gonna do my review, and then we're gonna present it to the partner so they can do their final review and the project can be completed. You got a good idea on that?
I do. Thank you for explaining it.
You'll do an amazing job. Thank you.